In today's video, I'm going to tell you one thing that will help you take better photos, guaranteed. Now, we all hate those videos where the presenter keeps you watching by talking around the subject till the very end and then they reveal the secret. So I'm not going to do that. I'll tell you straight away up front what it is you need to do, but don't just switch off and go and watch another video when you've heard it, because you'll miss the most important point. And the most important point is how you do this, not what you do. Now, what is it? Go and take more photos. Now, I said before, it's how you do this that is the most important thing. So let me explain some more. It's not simply a question of just pressing the shutter more times. Recently, I came across this book by Seth Godin called The Practice. It's well worth a read if you want to improve your success as a photographer, or as any other creative for that matter. It explains the pattern that all successful creatives follow. It's a call to action. Do more of what you do. Now, the same idea cropped in another book I was reading, Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I'm going to read you a little section which is particularly relevant to us photographers. Jerry Ulzman, a professor at the University of Florida, divided his photography students into two groups. Everyone on the left side of the room, he explained, would be in the quantity group. They would be graded solely on the amount of work they produced. And on the final day of class, he would tally up the number of photos submitted by the students. 100 photos would get an A, submitting 90 a B, 80 photos a C, and so on. Meanwhile, everyone on the right-hand side of the classroom would be in the quality group. They would be graded only on the excellence of their work. They would only need to produce one photo during the semester, but to get an A, it had to be a nearly perfect image. I'll come back to this story in just a moment or two and tell you the outcome. Now, if you've been watching my videos, when I teach you how to take better photos, I suggest things like researching the location, looking at other images of the subject you want to photograph for inspiration, and trying to figure out what would be the composition and lighting that best suits that particular subject. You must get to know how to use your camera, all the different features, to the point where it's second nature and you can do it without thinking. None of this will help you take that amazing photograph unless you've gone out and practiced all the different settings for your camera, all those lighting techniques, and all those composition techniques. I'll show you a couple of examples from my own work. Here's one of my favourite shots of the statue called Venus and Cupid in Morecambe. Now, when I googled images of the statue, this is what I found. As you can see, nearly everybody takes a similar shot, showing the whole statue, maybe from one or two different angles, from the side, from the front or from the back. When you're faced with a subject like this that has been photographed by lots of people, the goal should be to try and show something nobody has done before. Here are some of the things that I tried. You'll see they're similar to something everybody else has done. Then I switched it up a bit by tilting my camera, changing my position, squatting down, things like that, till finally I moved in much closer and thought about some other composition rules like the leading lines, and I realised maybe my focus should be just on Cupid with a hint of Venus in the foreground. And eventually I got this shot. Very pleased with this. I was able to sell it to some local businesses based in Morecambe. Felt I'd done a good job and it was unlikely I would get a better shot. But I went back actually to film another video for this channel about isolating your subject. There's a link here. I photographed it again and this is what I got. My personal opinion is it's even better than the previous one, probably because I chose a better time of day, sunset. If I analyse what I've done to get the best photographs of Venus and Cupid, I've actually tried 3 different aperture settings, wide, medium and narrow, f4 to f14, 9 different focal lengths from 16mm up to 60. And I went back to the location 3 different times. The point is, when you're learning new techniques, you need to practice them, not just watch YouTube and research, You need to take action. You need to take the photos. You need to make the mistakes. Take lots of photos. Try different compositions. Try the different angles, different camera settings, trying different lighting, even if that means going at different times of day. For those of you who like portrait photography, here's another example. These are 10 different shots of the same model taken in the same studio on the same day. And what you can see is in each of them there are different lighting setups, different poses, different compositions. Some are black and white, some are colour, some slightly more monotone, some in portrait orientation, and some in landscape. All these have produced different results. These are my 10 favourites, but I probably took a couple of hundred shots at the time. It was an exercise in trying to get lots of things that didn't work so that I got the ones that did. Remember our professor, Jerry Oldsman, these two groups of students? At the end of the term, he was surprised to find that all the best photos were produced by the quantity group, because those students were busy experimenting with composition and lighting and trying different techniques. It was the process of practicing, of taking the action, of taking the photos that made them better photographers. The quality group spent all their time researching and speculating about what made a perfect photo. And in the end, they had little to show for their efforts because they hadn't put their ideas into practice, hadn't tried all the different techniques that the quantity group had. Consequence was, quality of their work actually wasn't that great. So the one thing that will help you take better photos guaranteed is take more photos with intention. What you should do next is make sure you know how to use your camera inside out. The camera settings should be second nature to you. I have a great playlist here that will help you with that. Most importantly, don't get bogged down trying to get that perfect shot. Make mistakes. Take lots of photos, lots of compositions, different lighting, different settings. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.